Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Iga. If you're new here, I make lifestyle, vlogs, beauty content, and just in general having fun with my content at the moment. Today I wanted to sit down with you guys and show you my 2024 Notion setup, at least for this second half of the year. I've been using Notion on and off throughout the years, but overall it's just such an incredible resource, especially being free. For those of you who don't know, Notion is a productivity app that you can use on your desktop, on your tablet, on your phone, wherever you are, on the browser. It is completely free and fully customizable, and I cannot explain what an amazing resource it actually is when you get into the full depths of it, because I'm pretty sure I haven't even reached half of its potential using it for as many years as I have. It's a great resource for students or professionals who are just trying to upkeep with their projects, or if you're an individual just trying to get your life together, upkeep with hobbies and habits. There is really something for everyone with this platform. I've personally used it previously as a student to upkeep with my assignments and projects, but as of recently I've been using it more in a personal way, tracking my hobbies, my life, and more importantly, planning all the content that I've been doing. But without further ado, let's just get into it.
Right, so we start off on the home page. As you can see, it has a bunch of little designs over here. I will link down below all the YouTubers that have inspired my setup in a visual sense kind of thing, because I think it gets really overwhelming trying to figure out how to do it yourself, especially if you're trying to make it pretty. There's just so many options with it. So to start with, I have my 5 categories over here. We have goals, well-being, content, planning, and catalogs. Now, you may argue that content and planning probably could go together whenever we get more in depth into it. However, I like to separate those things. It just makes it easier for me. And then if we scroll below, over here I have a little calendar. It likes to play around with the sizing for some reason, but you know what, let it be. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. C'est la vie. Then over here we have a little clock, like I said, and my 2024 vision board, and my kind of ongoing to-do list. This is my to-do list that I mostly use if I just need to quickly jot something down. Instead of doing it in my phone notes, I just know that I will go onto this probably sooner than I will on my notes. And then over here just below we have the weather, because why not, and my habit tracker. So this is probably one of the newer additions. I finally figured out how to do it. Whenever you add a new section, you can set everything up and it will go away to the database once you update, because it's set up for the no date, which is quite helpful because then I can do it all daily, and then at the end of the day I can pop in the date and it goes into a huge database that stores all of them. So if I ever want to see any correlations throughout the month or weeks or years, I can do that. Hopefully, at least that is the intention behind it. That is pretty much it for my homepage. As you can see, I don't really use this much. I just have Home and Study Hub. Study Hub I used whenever I was at uni. It was quite helpful, but I haven't looked at it in ages, and I'm sure there are better people to show you this if that's what you are after. Now, starting off with my little sections. As I said previously, I have goals, well-being, content, planning, and catalogs. And in each of them, I have a little toggle, which brings down all the different sections that I have in there. So for goals, for example, we have the vision board, which is the exact same vision board as my 2024 one, or if I ever do any seasonal vision boards, or if I want to keep a track of different years, I can do that as well. Over here I have my goals, which are my sort of goals and resolutions, and then I have my milestones over here. So starting off with the milestones, these are kind of just my long-term milestones. I do have different sections in them as well, but these are kind of ongoing. I have it set for non-finished goals, so then that way I can add to it, and then once it's complete it goes off the list, so it makes it a little less confusing. Moving on to my goals, these are sort of my monthly goals. You can see the 3 main ones. If you'd like to hear more about that, I did actually do a mid-year review a couple of weeks ago on my channel, so I'll link that somewhere in the bubble. But these are essentially the 3 main categories of goals and resolutions that I've decided to focus on this year. And you can see I have 2 sections. I have my monthly goals over here, which essentially have a list of what I want to achieve that month. It's kind of like a monthly to-do list. So for example, this is my January one. I didn't get very far in the January one. The first couple of months this year I was a bit off with this, but this is essentially the plan for every single month. And then when we go back to goals, my 2024 resolutions, me and my friend Millie actually have a monthly call where we chat and catch up about our lives, and then we will go into detail about our different resolutions that we have set ourselves for the year. So this is basically what it looks like. Let's click on January as well. Is this still a priority? What have you done? And what will you do next month to do it? It is kind of just to keep yourself accountable and also keep track of how well you're doing, because half the time we'll go into this catch up. I was about to say meeting. It's definitely not a meeting. It's way less formal than that. We'll go into this catch up thinking, oh, I've done really shit in this category. But actually what comes out of it is that either we've done better than we thought in that category, or actually, yeah, we have done kind of shit in that category, but we've done so amazing in something else. So this sort of helps us keep accountable, and also helps us not to be so harsh on ourselves, because we kind of see how much we have actually done in the month. This year is going so fast. I think without this, I would really feel like I've done absolutely nothing for myself. So that's my goal section. If we go back home, and the vision board, like I said, is the exact same as this one over here. So moving on to well-being, I'll start off with journal. Journal is currently empty, but it's a section for me if I just want to have a little rant and type out whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking. That is my safe space to do it if I wish to do so. I'm not a huge journaler, but I'm trying to give myself that space. I do often struggle with the cringe of rereading your journal entries, but I'm trying to learn that cringe is inevitable and you just gotta be cringy to be successful. So, you know, trying to overcome that. And then, like I said, my habit tracker is just a huge database of my days. By date. Those are the days that go in it from this section over here. So going on to content, this is my content dashboard. I plan out all my videos over here. So all of this comes from a content master database. I basically have different templates over here that I can put in, whether it's a YouTube vlog, whether it's a TikTok/reel, and all that jazz, and it will then go onto my calendar section by when it should be released. I do work full-time aside of trying to do YouTubes, so sometimes I do have to reschedule things. However, for the most part, I do find that this makes it more fun, and I have been keeping myself way more accountable for this. And over here we just have a section for my ideas, so things that I think I want to do in the future. However, I don't have a specific date that I want to put it in there. And that's sort of it. It's a simple little database, but this is what I need for now. Then moving on to planning, I have a few different sections. So I have a weekly planner, weekly meal planner, which I don't use every week, but if I feel like planning my meals, I can do. Travel plans, and also a wedding planner. So starting off with the weekly planner over here, I just have a weekly to-do list where I can pop all the things that I need to do throughout the week, tick it off. Kind of simple. If I need a weekly overview of everything I'm doing in terms of the tasks that need to get done, there's nothing more to it. My weekly meal plan, it's a little bit bare because I didn't really plan anything for this week, but you get the idea. I can choose which days I'm eating what, and then it will pop up in a board view like this. My travel plan, so this is sort of a central database for any trips that I have upcoming. I don't have anything confirmed yet this year, hence why it hasn't been used in a while, but whenever I do have any kind of concrete long distance travels and we're planning to do things during that, everything will be here. It's kind of the central hub of everything. So if we, for example, open Texas wedding, I did have a packing list for everything that I needed to bring. I had a to-do list to do before the actual trip, anything that I wanted to buy in destination, clothing pieces that I thought would be good to pack just to kind of help myself visualize what I need. So essentially a packing list for a packing list. And I also wanted to have some fun, and I made an itinerary for us for the trip. So we had all the dates, what we were doing. We kind of had an overall plan of what was happening during the 2 weeks that we were there. And I made us an itinerary on Canva because I felt funky. So for those of you who don't know, my husband is actually from Texas, so I've been there a few times, but we were bringing 2 of our best friends with us this time, so we wanted to make it a lot of fun. We were also there for a wedding, so we had to plan that in there, and actually I had a blast. But having this space to plan it in was actually just so much fun. It was so satisfying, and I'm still very proud of it. And then my wedding planner, for context, I am in fact married, but my husband and I never had a proper wedding. We do intend on doing it, but in this day and age, it is very expensive. So hopefully for one of our anniversaries, we can actually have a party and we can invite all our friends and family. However, I have made a plan over here. So any to-dos that we will need to do, a guest list which is actually filled in. I've made this database kind of to help us in the future. One day we'll do it. And like I say, I have the wedding website planning and also a started registry if that is something we will do. Big if. And my last category on my Notion is my catalogs. I'm not going to go into too much detail for half of them, but I will show you my reading one because I'm really proud of it and it makes me really happy. Basically, they are all my lists, all my collections of things. So for example, self-explanatory, have recipes, movies and TV, so any movies I want to watch, any watched ones, and the links to their IMDb so I can see the rating that I gave them, if I gave them one, my book ones, which I will elaborate in a second, and then the 3 last categories are kind of newer categories, so there is nothing currently in them, but I'm trying to build up my plant collection, and I think having a spreadsheet for different plants that I have, how to take care of them, how often to water them, all that jazz, will be quite beneficial for me not to, you know, unalive them. And it's also a fun addition to my Notion. Shopping is any shopping list, any items that I stumble upon that are not a, okay, I'm ordering this right now kind of thing, maybe something to save up for and stuff like that. That's where my stuff will be going. I'll probably categorize it over, you know, household, clothes, all that jazz. And then places is for any places that I want to go to, so any restaurants, any parks, any beaches, you name it. If I stumble upon something online, I will pop it in there. And then I'll have a huge list of places that I want to visit. Now, one last in-depth thing. This is my reading dashboard, and this is where I plan on cataloging all the books that I own. These are not all the books that I own. Majority of them are books that I've had for ages and haven't read, / the books that I have read this year. But I'm planning to make this like a huge library catalog of everything I own, and maybe even create a separate TBR, like in order of how much I want to read it. But I'm really proud of it. It makes me really happy. And if you're interested in where I got all these banners, just let me know and I'll link down below the template that I use on Canva. But that is pretty much it for my Notion. It's quite simple, but I didn't want it to be too overwhelming because I think that was part of the reason why I wasn't using it much before. So I went for simplicity and functionality for me. And a little bit of pizzazz. You can't not have a little bit of pizzazz. I need my little bit of pizzazz.
So this is pretty much it for my Notion tour, but I don't want to leave you guys without any advice for your future with this app. The number one thing I would say with it, do your research. You have to do your research. Just because certain templates and certain ways of working are working for someone else does not mean that they will work for you, and that is okay. You just have to make sure you find the ways that work for you. And there are so many amazing free resources online that you can do that with. Another thing I would definitely say is simplicity is key. Start simple, you'll get there. Build it up over time. Don't stress yourself out from the start. To help you guys even further on your Notion journey, I will link down below any useful resources that I think might be of use to you at the beginning of your journey, including a simplified version of my template, as well as the people who have inspired the final result. Another thing is, you do not need to pay for your templates. There are plenty of free resources online. You can find free templates on YouTube on people's videos. You can find free templates on Etsy. Just do your research, see what works for you, see what works for your budget and work from there. And I think just in general, the last thing I would say is don't be afraid of it. The first thing you're gonna see when you open the app is a blank page, and I know how horrifying that can be, but hop on YouTube, watch some people's videos, get a template or two, play around with it, and before you know it, you have a template of your own, you have something that works for you or doesn't, and you'll find a way in the groove to help you have a more efficient experience with it, and in turn, I think a more efficient life, whether it's personal life or work life. Saying all that, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it at least somewhat useful if you're a newbie trying to start with Notion, or a regular user just looking for some inspiration. Either way, whatever brought you to the video, I'm glad you're here and I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button down below, and if you're new here, click that sub button as well. I would love to have you here for future videos. I hope you have the best rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is where you are, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!